So we're at the Human Rights Watch Film Festival in London. I'm with Mimi Chakarova, the director of The Price of Sex. Mimi, can you tell us what motivated you to make this film?
What motivated me is where I come from, where I was born, and after the collapse of communism, my mom and I immigrated to the US, but I grew up in a very small community, in a small village in Bulgaria, and when the collapse occurred, a lot of people left that village as well as many other villages in Bulgaria and throughout Eastern Europe, seeking a better opportunity in other countries abroad. So the idea was, well, what happened to a lot of the people in this place? And through the years, especially in the 90s, the story that you saw in the media about sex slavery and sex slaves from Eastern Europe was popping up everywhere. And the idea is, well, wait a second, when I was 15, I went back, and there were some girls in that village that, had gone to other countries, and their grandmothers and some of their family members had not heard from them. So the idea was, why not go back and investigate this, especially because I come from that same culture.
And how were you received when you went back to your home village? I mean, this is a sort of explosive question you're raising.
It's an explosive question, and you have to understand that it was not only my home village where I went and I was asking questions. It was also villages throughout Moldova and in different places in Eastern Europe where I was asking these questions. People are afraid. A lot of people are afraid. A lot of people tell you, do you know who you're dealing with? You're dealing with the mafia, which is controlling the trafficking of women. So you don't want to go around asking too many questions, and you have to set the boundaries very clear for your own safety and for your own self, which is, how deep do you really want to go with this kind of an investigation? But over time you find women who have survived, and over time you start piecing together the story, and you also have to verify the information that you're getting from the women.
And you talked about how, in the film, you talked about how girls inadvertently get tricked into going abroad. But you've been back there since. Are teenage girls in those areas, are they getting the message? Are they working out the dangers that they face?
Well, you see the clip in the film with the classroom full of teenage girls and me posing the question, which is, do you know about trafficking? The answer is yes. This has been going on for the last 20 years now, more than 20 years now. So girls and young people are aware in these communities of what trafficking entails. But here is the thing which I would like to really make clear. Education is wonderful, and education is a great tool. But unless you give people the economic possibility to stay where they are and to have normal lives, even if you educate them, they're still going to pack up and leave because there are no jobs. So it has to be a combination of informing people, educating these kids in the schools, but also giving them an alternative to not to go abroad, or to have enough information to know that often the people who are recruiting them are people who they know, their acquaintances. That's what makes it also much more complicated, that it's not agencies. It used to be agencies. Now, most girls are trafficked by women. And most of these women are friends or relatives or acquaintances to relatives. These are not random people that just show up and process your paperwork and take you to another country. These are people who you trust and people who the family knows.
So finally, you've made this film and you're now promoting it. Where do you hope to go with the story of sex trafficking? What do you hope to do with this film? What do you hope to achieve? And where in 10 years' time would you like this story to be?
In 10 years' time, I've spent 10 years working on this. So what has happened in the last year has been remarkable, which is the reception. We as journalists always feel that when working on very difficult subject matter, the public is desensitized. They are overwhelmed by the darkness of issues that deal with human rights, and it's untrue. And I'm the first person to say this, which is, if you have screening after screening with packed houses, with sold-out events, that tells me, we're talking about 300, 400, 500 people that come to see a film. when you have BBC World, CNN, the US State Department wanting to use this as a tool, wanting to know more about, wait a second, there is this film which is addressing corruption, which is addressing what's happening to these young women. We get to see them on camera. That's a new shift in the way you tell the story of women who are trafficked. Because in the past, you don't see their faces. You don't get to go with them to their villages and to see the living conditions of where they come from and why they made the choice to leave. To paint that full picture is really important, and people are paying attention. So to me, just in that last year, you asked me about 10 years, but I can tell you just in this past year, I have seen a film do something which I could never even have wished for. And as a journalist, that's the best thing you can have for your work, is to know that your work has impact, that people are paying attention, that people are asking the right questions, that you are informing the public, and you are giving the public a new set of tools that they can use for themselves.
Thank you very much indeed for your time, Mimi. So this is Patrick Chalmers for Vision on TV signing off.